Hello and welcome back to Haven and Hearth. So, I have a lot of stuff I need to do. Unfortunately, almost none of it is anything new. That's a little bit of a problem. You know, not so much for, me in the, oh, I need to get things done stage, but more so in the you, as in, there's not going to be a whole lot of new information here, because a lot of this is just going to be me going through the various cycles that are needed to advance in the game. But it's all stuff that has already been done. The one major thing that I'm hoping to do is to get my strength up to 50. I think if I get my strength up to 50, I will be able to start mining my way towards what I hope is copper. Because once I get access to copper, as you know, I need copper with the tin I have in order to make the bronze, which is our first hard metal. Having access to hard metal is the final piece of the puzzle in the game. Basically, once you have regular access to hard metal, everything that you're able to accomplish is able to be accomplished, minus a very few minor things that require a precious metal, like silver or gold. But those are almost never things that you need to do in order to continue advancing yourself. Most of those things are a few supplementary things, like there's some jewelry. Those can be used to help. Of course, there's curiosities that are made from them, but that's kind of a waste. Mostly the precious metals get used for things like challenge banners and things like that, where you're talking about realms fighting each other, which, even if, I wanted to do that, there's nobody on. All right, this server, I think, is peaking around 140-ish players, with most of the players on the newer server. So there isn't really much of any. I haven't seen a single person. I've seen evidence of people, because there are some settlements around where their claims are still active, so I'm assuming they've been on. I've actually seen a few where there were fires going, so they were on recently enough that they hadn't burnt down. But there's not much of anything. Not much of anybody left. So it's going to be mostly cycles and trying to get to that stage of having hard metal. As you can see, I have a bucket in my hands. It is filled with water. You can kind of see if you look close, and if of course you go here, you can see, yes, it has water in it. That is because one of the fairly boring I've already done this things that I need to do is I really need to work on clearing out all of this stone and ore that is inside my palisade here. That way I'll be able to start doing stuff like that. Now, this will have the side effect of running my energy down, which will make it less wasteful to eat food. That's good. I could sit at 100 at full energy. Was it like 10,000% or whatever that it considers full, and just continue to eat. There is absolutely nothing stopping me from doing that. My hunger level would continue to go up, and my food satiations would as well. So it would get worse over time. My satiety is only down to 51%. I had it up around 90. So the fact that it's gone down that far is pretty good. The lower that is, the higher the food efficiency is, the quicker I'm going to get attributes from food. Other than that, there are, of course, still some things I need to do. I think there's another lamb. Yet there is another lamb. Of course, I'm going to need to do a bunch of the farming, which will burn energy as well. But I think we should focus on what kind of foods are we going to be going after. That way I can just kind of make them and eat them, and you'll understand what I need for strength. So, unfortunately, getting pure strength is difficult. There are some cheeses that have it. Of course, we don't have any on either of the two cheeses we currently have, which is bad. There was that one other type of cheese that we already ate, which was cured outside, which has a little bit on it, but it's got like Constitution and stuff too. Constitution is currently our highest stat, so we really don't want to be bumping that up more than we have to. I would like to make strength my highest stat, and that basically means I want to get my strength above Constitution and to keep it at least even with Constitution. So we have this. One of the pancake variants, crepe. Oh, that's a word. Let's see. Citroili? It's probably a French word, considering crepe is. It is made, of course, the variable ingredients are the flour and the egg. Fortunately, the chicken, egg, and barley flour that was used to make the pancake that went into it didn't contribute any con. But this particular type of pancake uses the pumpkin flesh, which I believe, let's see, let me pull that up, actually. Nope, that's the wrong one. I want pancakes. There we go. Yeah, it uses butter and 2 bits of pumpkin flesh. I've been farming pumpkins. We have plenty of pumpkin flesh. I'm going to have to stop eating them from the satiation before I run out of pumpkin flesh. That won't be a big problem. I will just continue to make my batter in the normal way and use the non-typed butter so as to keep things going. You can see it is 5 to 4 to 2 on the strength +1, agility +1, and charisma +2. If anything, we're going to need to worry about the charisma possibly going up, although, it's still got a little bit of room, and it's the lowest chance, but the fact that it's +2 means that if that chance hits, it's doing double the amount, so there is that. As for other foods, like, there's a little bit of strength on this Seed Crisp flatbread, which you can see I've been eating. I've been eating that for the will, because the will is the largest hit, the strength is the smallest on this one, and it does have con. So I'd really prefer not to have to do that. Let's see, what do we got? None of that on there, none of that on there. We do have some other options. However, they are not the greatest of options. So we have Encumbered Roast. So this has a Strength +2 as the largest hit. It's got Will and Perception. And then, of course, the variable ingredient on it is the meat. I do not want to use the mutton on this because the mutton reduces the amount of the FEPs out for strength, making it so it won't be the highest one, which means I will need to use something else. Now, if I put in, say, chicken, it will give me dexterity, which my dexterity is pretty high. If I put in rabbit, it'll give me agility as well, which my agility is a little high. Now, strength will still be the highest stat, which makes it still worth doing, but what I put in does affect it. So if I were to, go and, I don't know, get beef, then I happen to know beef is Constitution. And so is wild pork for whatever reason. If you put wild pork into recipes, you would think that it would be strength because you can cook it and get strength, but in recipes, for whatever reason, most of them end up being Constitution, which isn't what we want. If we want to get strength in recipes, we need domesticated pork. And I want to have my strength, agility, and constitution closer to 100 before I try to domesticate a pig. Wild boars are one of the animals that when you're fighting them might just decide to kill you. Unlike most of the others. Boars and bears are the ones that might just be like, nah, we're just going to kill you. Instead of stopping once you're down. So, you want to make sure you're going to massively overpower it before you even fight them. And going into a fight where you're trying to not kill the animal, like domesticating, you really want to be ready for it. So that's a whole thing. We're not going to be getting that anytime soon. There is, of course, the Jotun's morsel, which again, the meat is a variable thing on it. It does give the possibility of strength, but you can see it's got con on it and everything too. You don't really. I'm trying to avoid the Constitution hit with the strength hit, so we don't have a whole lot of options. I could go with the bushmeat strips, but that is much more likely to give will. The autumn steak is highly variable, but it's it's a little weird. It's a little weird. The onion skewers again give a con hit, so you kind of want to avoid that. We got the steak and tubers again, strength and con. They're kind of tied together a lot. It is very easy to do that. Now, unfortunately, we do not currently have access to a sausage that gives strength by itself. There is one. I believe it is called Piggywurst. Guess what that needs? That's right, it needs pork. Fortunately, that one is either wild or domesticated, so you can just use either one and you'll still get a pure strength. That one's a pure strength, which is one of the things that makes sausage good for it. Unfortunately, it would require, getting the discovery for wild pork. Now, we have a bit of wild pork, I believe, in this chest over here. No, we do not. I know I had some around somewhere. Unfortunately, it was one of the things where in order to get the discovery, you have to actually get it off of the animal. Do we have it around here at all? I thought I had some. No, I guess not. I guess we don't actually have it. Now, there is the possibility, if I were to wander out in the wilderness for a while, I might find a dead boar. Because boars have a tendency to fight things that they come across, and so do bears. And in a bear versus a boar fight, the boar loses unless the bear is already injured from a previous fight. Which does mean you can find dead bears as well. Bear is the other meat that gives strength. It tends to add strength +2 rather than just the strength +1 from the boar. So that would be very good as well. But again, that is mostly going to come down to chance and exploration, which is not something I'm really ready to do at this exact second. So what I think I'm gonna need to do here, I have a bunch of chicken. I have the necessary cucumbers, I believe, and I think, nope, oh, yes I can. All right, I can harvest more. This is always, the way this person set these up is really annoying. Like, yes, I understand this is the space-saving method, but I generally only do 2 per, because it is easier. Because this is set up to 4. Like, you can tell that one was as well, but the stuff decayed. It's just annoying. Because, like, now I'm going to have to put them all back. And here we go again. Oh, look, it just did 2, and that's it. It stopped. Oh, there we go. I'm going to need to do it again. Let's do this. Oh, nope. Okay, we didn't quite get it there. All right, what about this? What about this last one? We got one more. Yeah, so it's just annoying, is really all that is. So how am I doing here? I have 23 of these. We're going to stack more in. We have 33. So theoretically, since they only take 1 per, I could make 33 encumbered roasts. Now, it does require me having my frying pan and a fire, but hey, look, I have my fire stocked and ready. And we can see exactly how this ends up turning out. You know what? I'm going to put my bucket of water down for the moment. I will need that, but not this exact second. All right, we got that. Let's go ahead and toss these cucumber seeds in there. Is there anything else I'm going to need? Oh, the box of matches. Helps if I light the fire. All right, and of course we're going to need our chicken, which, hey, look, I've got 20. Let's make 20 of these. I will need to go grab 20 of those cucumbers, but we can get the fire lit first. All right, let's go grab our cucumbers. We will make some food, and then I will go burn a whole bunch of energy so that I am wasting less when it comes to eating all the food. So we're going to primarily be using these encumbered roasts and that particular type of pancake to do our strength up. And hopefully, since I only have a few points to go, I've only got 6 points I need. Hopefully what I'm making will be enough to do that, and we will maybe have that be enough to start being able to mine towards that metal. That is the hope, at least. So, okay, I'm going to get this stuff cooked. I'm going to get it stored. I'm going to go burn a bunch of energy, and I'll be back when I'm ready to start eating food. Oh, actually, you know what? Before I do that, let's just check what our stat ends up being. Yeah, our strength +2 is still the highest stat on this. And no, it looks like this added... What did this add? Charisma. Okay, it added charisma, not dex. Yeah, it's never fully apparent until you actually make it, unless you use some of the resources online to figure it out. Exactly what's going to get made. But, alright, I will be back ever so shortly, once I've burned some energy and I'm ready to eat food. I will see you then. Alright, I am back. I have been clearing out stone here, and have run myself completely out of water, and I have gotten my energy down a little over half, so that seems like a good time as any to go ahead and pop back up and eat some food. We are not down into the danger range, which I believe I'm actually kind of close to. I think it's under half is where you start having some negative effects for, not having eaten enough. But since we had to come up to refill our water anyway, seems like a good time. Go ahead and get some food eaten. So let's go ahead and kind of monitor this. We're shooting for 50 strength. Let's see if we can get it right now. So we're going to start with the encumbered roasts. Bam. Okay, that was most of it. How do I want to do this? I don't quite have enough to get the rest of the way up. Do I want to try eating a crepe to fill in? Because I would prefer to not just spam roasts until there's more of a gap. You know what? Yeah, we'll do that. Alright, so I ended up with agility that time around, but I also got the little XP from eating food. Let's try again. Encumbered roast. And the crepe. Strength +1. Better than nothing. Roast and crepe. Charisma +2. Not what we wanted. Roast and crepe. Strength +1. Roast and crepe. Charisma. Roast, and unfortunately we are out of crepes. But I do have a whole bunch more of the roasts, so now we are at the point where I will just start spamming the roasts for a little bit and see if we can't manage it. How am I doing on that? Yeah, the roasts are at 22%. I normally try to stop around 30, but you can push to 50% and still be okay. So we'll do that. Strength +2, excellent. Strength +2, we got 50. That's what I was shooting for. Let me just shove as many of these as I can into the table so I don't have to go searching. Yeah, I can fit all of them. Excellent. All right, so that is our strength up to the level I think we'll be able to go and get this mining done. So I'm going to put the bucket away. I'm going to grab my shield, just because level 2 is a little bit more dangerous. Let's go refill our stamina, refill our water, because if we can mine, then we're going to want to do as much as we can. So we'll fill the water, drink, and fill the water again. That way we're completely topped up. And let's go take a look. Because I put a mine support in before I ever started digging, and then I got the slightly too hard message, which generally means you're within 15 points of being able to do it. And then there are various other little warnings, the error messages, and each one as you go up the chain is another 15 within. So within 15. So let's go ahead and see. The rock is just slightly too hard for you to mine, so I'm still not quite there. I might, however, be able to overcome that difference with the stone axe. Because while the metal axe is much faster and uses less stamina and generally better, the quality difference between the two factors into how much effective strength you count as having. So let's see if we can't manage that, because we've got 32 quality on that axe, 54 on this one. It might be enough to edge us, right over the amount we need. Because I did that when I was digging out the area for the palisade here. Like, some of this was just a little bit too hard, but I managed to swap over to the stone axe and do it. So, let's see. Yeah, see, there are some bats over here, so if I angered them, I would need this shield. At least if I don't want to get hurt too much. Alright, let's see if this is enough. Unfortunately not. That means we're going to need more strength. Well, we've brought our strength up about 5 points in total from when I first got that message. So that basically means that we might have to do as many as 10 more. Which is unfortunate. Especially since my encumbered roast is now up to 29%. I could eat more, but I think I want to do a bit more mining before I do it. That's really annoying. And now strength is my highest stat, so as I raise it, I'm going to be making it more difficult to get the other stats. Now there is another food, and I probably should have grabbed some of these, because there's these sheep curds, and they are pure strength. They're just a very small amount of it. They're only strength +1, but I can make a lot of this because I've got more stuff to make the rennet if I run out. I've got milk being produced constantly. I don't want to eat these, by themselves to do this, but grabbing some to basically just supplement might be a good idea. You know what? Let's try it. Let's see what we can manage. Even though I really don't want to be doing this where I am right now, but bam. Oh yeah, see, that's... Oh, there's strength +2. Let's just kind of do a little bit of this. Strength +1. And perception. Okay, so we got 3 more points of strength. Now, I said within 15 points. That does mean within 15 points. So it could have been 1 that we were short. We'll check one more time. And then I think I'm just going to call it an episode, because I'm basically going to be stuck either doing exactly what I was just doing, or mining towards our goal, depending on if this works or not. Here we go. Okay, so we were close enough that getting those 3 points ended up doing it, at least in regards to our much slower stone axe. Now, if we recall, somewhere in this general vicinity is where our metal deposit of unknown type is. And because of the way rust root works, even if that ends up not being the copper we need, we will have to clear it out before we can find another deposit easily. Because the rust root will always go for the closest one, and this was the closest one. And we don't know how far away we would have to go for it to not point at this, because we don't know where another deposit is. So clearing out this one is the easiest way to then go, hey, I need you to point me to something else. And if there's nothing else in range, it just won't point. So I'll just, go further away until I find it point at something. That's the entire basic process. And as you can see, even getting one cycle on this complete with this stone axe is really hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mine towards the goal. I'm probably going to try and get my stats up even more in between. Because if I can get my strength up high enough that I can use the metal axe instead, this will go a lot faster. But I think we're going to leave it here. So what did we accomplish? We got our strength up to 53, and that is putting us towards our target. No guarantee that I won't run into an even harder patch of rock on the way, but for now, at the very least, we're gonna be able to do this at least a little bit. Just a little bit. I'll let you know next episode if I run into any problems. I will continue just kind of doing cycles on things, and if we haven't made it there by the time I need to get the next episode posted, I will go a little bit more in depth on the cycles of quality increase that are really the backbone of this game. If I do make it there, then we'll be focused on hard metal instead. But that is going to do it for this episode. So, until next time, have a good one.